What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Formula One Gridlock podcast. My name, of course, is Nathan Charles. I'm always here. And I'm always here with my co-host, Chase Bozung. Chase, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am excellent, Chase. As a McLaren fan, I'm very, very happy about what transpired last weekend in Italy, and we will get to that, I'm sure. Chase, let's jump right into it before we start with anything else. Let's do the race rundown. First place in the 2021 Gran Primo d'Italia in the Autodromo Nazionale in Monza. First place goes to Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren. An amazing performance from Daniel, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later. Second place, Lando Norris in the McLaren. That's a McLaren 1-2, folks. Look out. Third place, Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. Fourth place, Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Fifth place, due to a 5-second penalty, which we will, of course, touch on, was Sergio Perez in the Red Bull. Sixth place, Carlos Sainz in the second Ferrari. Seventh, Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. That's a pretty decent drive from Lance. Eighth place, Fernando Alonso in the Alpine. Ninth place, George Russell puts that Williams. Ninth place. Wow. That man deserves to be in a Mercedes right now. 10th place, Esteban Ocon in the second Alpine. 11th place, Nicholas Latifi in the second Williams. 12th place, Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. That's not great from Seb. 13th place, Antonio Giovinazzi in the first Alfa Romeo, standing in for Kimi Räikkönen. Robert Kubica in 14th place in the second Alfa Romeo. And then we had the two Haas's in the back, although Mick Schumacher finished, Nikita Mazepin did not. We had a lot of DNFs in this race, Chase.
Yeah.
We had five DNFs. Nikita Mazepin, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda. It's a Haas, Mercedes, a Red Bull, and the two Alpha Tauris. A double DNF for the Italian team this weekend. They aren't happy with that. And I'm not happy either, because I do want to see Pierre prove himself, and I want to see Yuki Tsunoda get some time in the car. All right, Chase, let's start. Give me your one-word description.
I went on kind of a basic word here, but I just went interesting. There's a lot of stuff that I think is worthy of talking about.
Absolutely. I went, because of the theme and like kind of what I was seeing, this was redemption. This was redemption for Daniel Ricciardo. This was his race. This is what he needed. Let's be perfectly clear. He's been middling this entire season. I brought it up. Even I was like, Daniel Ricciardo's over the hill. I was like, Lando Norris is the number one driver at McLaren. He was, let's be honest, he was consistently better than Daniel Ricciardo on the year. I think his standing, currently he is sitting, let me pull it up real quick. Currently he's still sitting fourth. He's got quite a few points on Daniel Ricciardo. But man, when Daniel Ricciardo saw the light, when he got his chance, Chase,
Yeah.
man, he took it. What a race from him. Let's talk drivers. Who do you got? Driver of the day.
I was going to go with Danny Ricc, but I saw you got him. So
yeah,
I went
it's
with
the
Bottas.
easy answer.
19th to what? Technically third, if we count why he, I think that's pretty good. That's absolutely a great race. I may not like the guy that much, but hey, he did it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those times where you just have to tip your cap.
Yeah.
It was a quality race.
I mean, the obvious choice is Danny, but I'll let you take that one.
I appreciate that. I mean, I've already touched on it. I mean, he saw his chance, he took it. I think not only did McLaren run a very good race for him, which we'll talk about McLaren later, they stuck him in a good position. I mean, we've kind of already talked about the sprint race, and we're not all super fond of it. We think there are some changes that could be made.
I'll add some thoughts here and there on that right now.
Absolutely. Knock yourself out.
I got a couple thoughts. I forget entirely who crashed out. I believe it was Gasly.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was.
it's it's literally a perfect example of why the sprint race is literally the dumbest thing you could add. It matters for 3 people, and Gasly crashes, whether it be his fault or not, and doesn't race. For what? 3 points at most? You're kidding me. It's literally just like a smack in the face for 90% of the grid. And then the last 10% are like, cool, I got a point. Wow, fastest lap, essentially. Woo. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. And he doesn't get to race because they make him race twice. How is that fair?
Yeah, no, it's tough. Anyway, anyway,
Yeah.
well, look, the sprint race gave us one good thing. It gave us Daniel Ricciardo in a decent position.
Yeah.
It gave us Daniel Ricciardo in second to start, which gave him a good line. That first line, if you're in second, you actually have a really good line, and it's not always the case. Um, in on these tracks, but for this track in Monza, it is actually a very good line. You get the inside corner and inside curve, so that was he was able to do what he did because of the sprint race. So I'm thankful for that. But overall, I'm still pretty anti sprint race. Don't kid yourself, Chase. Don't kid yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk teams. Who do you got?
The obvious one. I mean,
Yeah.
who else to say but McLaren? They literally could not have done better. They just couldn't have. This, I mean, perfect, absolutely perfect. They got themselves into the great position, and they did what they needed to do to stay there, and they stayed there, and they did it, and they brought it home 1-2. I mean, they're showing us that they're back. They're showing us that they got good drivers, and they're showing us that maybe next year it's not a landslide between two companies, between two teams. Maybe it's a landslide between three.
I would love to see that personally.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
I mean it's tough to argue with you. I had to pick somebody different. I know I wrote down
Mm-hmm.
McLaren, but Ferrari also had a great race. Let's
Mm-hmm.
not let's not sleep on Ferrari. They did a very good job of fourth and a sixth finish. I think if you told them that, they'd be pretty happy with that. Two races in the top 10. Uh and Charles Leclerc gets bumped up. I think he technically finished in fifth, but because of Sergio's 5-second penalty, he drops to fifth and Charles gets bumped to fourth. So they finish together. I think a fourth, sixth finish for Ferrari, that's a quality outing. They will take that. They probably don't love that they got beat by the McLarens because I mean they are the direct, like, those two teams are gunning for third right now. They are currently 14 points separated. McLaren is in third. Um, and there's nobody else even close to them.
I'm gonna be honest. End of the season, it's McLaren third. Just
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
not Ferrari. It can't be. Just what McLaren did was so dominant here. It
Hmm.
was so dominant.
Yeah, they were very, very good. They were very good. But I think Ferrari, if they can stay consistent, because you don't know, like,
That's true.
look, I love Daniel Ricciardo. He had a great race, but he hasn't been consistent.
Yeah.
Sometimes he finishes in 13th.
Oh yeah.
If Ferrari can capitalize on those, who knows? We still have a lot of races to go, Chase. I think
Oh
I
yeah.
think you might be surprised. But obviously, if McLaren can continue this and get a few more podiums, like, I always feel like Ferrari are quicker than they are, just because it's Ferrari and you want them to be quick. But if McLaren is this quick consistently for the next few races, they'll pick up a few podiums. I really do. Whether it be Danny Ricc or
Yeah.
Lando, they'll pick up a couple podiums. I don't see Ferrari picking up a couple podiums if this continues. I think they'll kind of stay in that fourth to seventh kind of gap. That's kind of where they live. But if they can consistently be there, I think they'll take that.
I think they get a podium, but that's about it.
Okay.
I think they get like one podium, and then it's like, okay, have fun, bye.
Have fun. You've gotten your scraps for the day, Ferrari.
Yeah,
Man,
exactly.
I hope Ferrari gets better. Not really,
Yeah,
because I'm a McLaren guy and I want McLaren to win. I don't want Ferrari to win.
I hope
But
they
it's
get
more fun
better.
when people are quick, man. It's more fun when people are good.
I hope they get better because I just want to see four to five teams fight for it. Like
Yeah,
I want a
really duking it out.
2012. I just want a 2012. Just everyone's pretty fast. There's a lot of dominant racers, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, make it based on the skill of the drivers and not the money that the teams have.
Yeah,
Is
I
that too
agree.
much to ask, Formula One? Is that too much to ask?
Yes, it is.
It is. It is. Let's be fair. All right, let's talk. Let's talk bad. Let's talk worst. Worst of the weekend, Chase. What do you got?
I got I think I originally I chose the same thing you did. It's just the disappointing double DNF from AlphaTauri. It's sad. It's real sad. I wanted to see Gasly on his track that he won last year. You know? I wanted to see
Yeah.
that fire inside of him going, I can win this year again too, and you don't see it, and then the other one. Oof.
Tough.
Sad. It's
Yeah,
tough.
AlphaTauri, not very happy with this weekend.
I wouldn't be.
Obviously I had that written down. It was not great.
Yeah.
My second option was Verstappen's like 12-second pit stop, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about the crash, but like this is what caused the crash. The fact that Max's pit stop was so long,
Well,
he
I
would
got a
have been
better opinion to a certain
he would have
degree,
been well, we can talk about it later. He would have been ahead of Hamilton if this pit stop wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
But
I can agree with that. That's
Red Bull's
true.
whole deal is that they're very good at pit stops. And I honestly couldn't remember the last time they've had a bad one, because it hasn't affected anything, but this one mattered. And this was bad. This was a bad look for them. For the team that
I was just going to say, let's dive into what happened, because they couldn't get that front right off. Is that their fault, or is it because like Max smacked into someone and it really just locked it into place?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's just sad, but yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if I did the research, I could find out exactly what happened.
Yeah,
but it doesn't change the fact that it happened.
Yep, agreed.
And well, let's just talk about the crash, because we're already done.
Yeah,
let's just talk about the crash. So, anybody that hasn't seen it, you should go watch it. Just go watch the highlights. That's what I do to prep. You know how it is.
Yeah. You want me to go first?
No. Well, so Max has a bad pit stop, pulls out behind Lewis, and Max is on fresher tires because Lewis tried to undercut him. It worked. And first turn, they're neck and neck first turn, and they just crash into each other. Max goes on top of him. It wasn't great. It was pretty scary, if I'm being perfectly honest, watching the...
I think you got that wrong.
What did I get wrong?
It's Lewis pulling out of the pit.
Is it?
Lewis pulls out of the pit. Then Norris is next to him.
See how well prepared I am for the show, jeez.
Right? Norris pulls past him, and then Verstappen's behind Norris and gets in line with Hamilton, and then that's where, it all happens.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to clarify.
No, you're right. Please clarify me when I'm wrong. So they crash into each other, knock both of each other out. Yep. Max immediately jumps out of the car, shakes his head, and just walks back to the pit lane. Lewis, of course, has a car on top of his own car, so he has to kind of like wiggle out. And, he shakes his head and he starts walking back. And it's a good thing, in my opinion, they were not close to each other, because I could have seen something legit, like a legit throwdown. Happening.
I could see it, yeah.
Whose fault was it? The FIA has already made their decision.
Yep. This is
They have said it's Max's fault. And I think, Chase, that's bullshit.
oh man, juicy time.
Yeah.
Juicy time.
It's a juicy weekend.
So, I think it's race incident Max's fault. To a degree, because here's where the fun stuff comes into play.
Yeah, we're talking semantics.
So first of all, hyper aggressive the whole time. Right?
Oh yeah.
You know, they're fighting. If you rewatch it, they're next to each other the first corner, right? And then Hamilton pulls out.
It's a tight hairpin.
Yeah, and then Hamilton pulls out slightly ahead and immediately just claims racing line. Like, the first corner, they're next to each other. Halfway in between the corners, he's on racing line. He's like, okay, this is mine now.
Yeah.
What does Verstappen do? Just stop his car entirely? Pull to the left off the track? Or pull to the right into Hamilton? What is Verstappen supposed to do there?
Yeah.
And then, to go into it further, I saw a juicy little thing.
Ooh,
where Hamilton was told to let Norris and Max pass when he was coming out of pit lane. If you rewatch it, there's a blue flag. I have it paused in the highlights. Blue flag being waved on the right side of the track from the camera's POV. And there's the little LED screen going blue, telling Hamilton to let them pass. But he doesn't let them pass.
Unsafe release.
Unsafe release. He doesn't let them pass. He sees it both.
And those couldn't be for another car. Like maybe a Haas. Maybe a Haas was in the way and we just didn't see it.
No one's there. If you rewatch those are the three there. Norris has no one who can pass him. They're not going to tell Verstappen to let Hamilton pass him because that's just BS. That wouldn't work. That's not smart, right? And so it's like, it's for Hamilton to let Norris, sure, but shouldn't also Hamilton let Verstappen? Because I don't think it's really I don't think they're debating that he's not going to let Norris pass him because Norris is just booking it. Norris is in front of him. It's not a debate, so it's got to be for Verstappen. Before Hamilton for Verstappen, you know? So yeah, and then they crash. And then the thing that gets my goat, dude, I walked into my room with my mom and I was like, this is BS. I hate this. This is so dumb.
I see it.
They give Verstappen a 5-place grid penalty. What is that? Yeah. Hamilton threw Verstappen in the wall at 170 miles an hour.
Well, they didn't hit the wall. They didn't hit the wall. They hit each other.
No.
They didn't hit the wall.
No. British Grand Prix.
Oh, okay.
Hamilton throws Verstappen into the wall at 170 miles an hour. It's 10 out of 10 his fault. It's always his fault. Okay, 5-second penalty. That's what he gets. Hamilton gets a 5-place, or Verstappen, because of this race, gets a 5-place grid penalty. I said to my mom, I don't know if I want to continue watching F1 anymore because it feels like the FIA just wants Hamilton to win. I may be too passionate, but tell me how this crash is worse than the other crash. The answer is they're both the same. 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah, I mean, they're very similar racing incidents. One, obviously this one takes both of them out. The other really only gets Max. Lewis comes back to win that race. This one, in my opinion, feels a lot more innocent than that one did.
1,000 times.
And this one, the penalty is arguably harsher. Because
arguably, what are you talking about? 5 grid place versus 5 seconds?
Max is in a Red Bull. You're right. It absolutely is harsher. It absolutely is harsher, and this one feels a lot more innocent. This one feels a lot more like a racing incident.
Way more.
You're right, though. You're right. I'm looking back over the highlights, and there is a guy waving a blue flag.
Yes, there is a blue flag being waved.
I wonder if that's for Hamilton.
Who else is it for? It's got to be for him.
It has
I
to be for
really
him,
hope
right?
Red Bull contests this,
I
because
hope.
that would be my key evidence. I'd be like, look, there's a blue flag.
Yeah, this guy's waving a blue flag. Why the heck is this guy not following the rules of our sport?
To throw this in here, they made it so that their steering wheels represent those flags, so that way they can't say, "Oh, I didn't see it."
Yeah.
It's just,
nope.
Yeah.
You're right. You're 1000% right.
I'm pretty
I didn't even
heated
notice
about
that.
this, but
I'm so glad you noticed that and brought that to my attention.
It's so BS.
That's
dude.
insane. That is actually insane. That changes my whole thoughts on this. I mean, I kind of thought that this should be like a nothing burger. Like nothing should happen here.
Yeah.
Like we should just move on from it. It happened.
Agreed.
Neither of you gained an advantage or gained a disadvantage, really. Like
Yep.
it just is what it is. Absolutely. If there was a blue flag for Lewis Hamilton and he chose to ignore it and still cut out in front of him, Lewis should be the one getting the 5-place penalty. This is ridiculous.
Yes. And see, here's my thoughts. This should be a nothing crash and we should move on, because the prior crash in the British Grand Prix was a nothing crash. If they gave Hamilton in the British Grand Prix a 5-place grid penalty for crashing out Verstappen or worse, and then they did it for Verstappen here in Monza, I'd be fine. I'd be like, sure, pretty similar crashes, sure, pretty similar consequences. But one crash is 100% Hamilton's fault. Max has the lead. Hamilton's just not following the inside line on the corner, crashes out. Verstappen wins the race, gets a 5-second penalty. They're in a corner together. Lewis gets the slight advantage, takes line, crashes out Verstappen. Verstappen crashes into Hamilton. Hamilton has a blue flag, and then Verstappen gets a 5-place grid penalty. What is that?
Yeah. That's a tough pill to swallow right there.
Yeah.
That really is.
See how I was so overdramatic about the FIA thing? Like,
you're 1000% right. I want to validate your feelings here, Chase.
Yeah, like, knowing all of that information, how can you not say it's biased towards Hamilton here? It wasn't even that bad of a crash. He didn't go to the hospital. Verstappen went to the hospital. It's just, it gets my goat, dude. It gets my goat so much.
Yeah, I mean, that blue flag thing really changes the game here, because if that was for Hamilton, which it looks like it is from watching the clip.
It's one of those 3 cars, and who's it? They're not going to tell the 2 people on the track to yield to the guy yielding onto the track.
And especially, too, because you're not allowed to cut in front of the line.
Yep.
And it's kind of iffy. It's kind of iffy whether Lewis does it or not. I want to watch this again.
Yeah.
This will be great. This will be great radio.
I mean, watch it in slow-mo, dude. It's just, it's horrid.
The guy with the blue flag, and then he cuts. All right, he cuts after the line.
Yeah, he cuts after the line.
So I guess,
but was he supposed to yield there?
I bet he was. I really bet he was. That's dangerous, man.
Lewis! It's annoying.
And they protect
really
him.
Annoying.
And they protect him.
Yeah. I mean,
they've got something on him.
If Verstappen loses this championship because of a 5-place grid penalty, right? Like, basically what I'm saying is, if Verstappen doesn't get first place, or doesn't place ahead of Hamilton in the next race, and then loses the championship by X amount of points,
however much, yeah,
I'm actually going to be livid. I know that may be biasism, but like,
biasism. It's just bias.
Yeah, but like, come on, dude. It's so
no.
It's like going into the court of law, and you have like the perfect case, and then they just throw out all of your evidence, and you're like, okay, you're going to jail. And it's like, wait,
what?
I wasn't even the one being questioned here.
I wasn't the one even on trial.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Flip side though, because when Max Verstappen wins the championship this year, wow.
Yeah.
Everything has seemingly gone against him.
Yep.
Everything. Every
Everything.
decision, every crash.
He almost had a engine failure. Like,
everything has gone against him. If he still manages to win it, which I love his odds because he's freaking Max Verstappen, man, it is going to be a sweet victory.
Yep.
Man, that's going to be a sweet victory. I can't wait. I love this season has been so good, Chase. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we started. Oh, I love it.
Great season.
It's my goat. All right. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this Perez 5-second penalty real quick. Let's just touch on it. It was bad. It was bad. He straight up skipped a turn, went in front of, I believe it was Charles Leclerc.
Yep, Leclerc.
Straight up went in front of him and didn't give the place back. I'm as somebody who wants to see Red Bull and specifically Sergio Perez, because I really like Sergio Perez, do well. This was dumb. This was a dumb 5-second penalty. It was just plain dumb. Sergio, give the place back. And then we're probably talking about Sergio Perez in third and not Valtteri Bottas.
I got juice for that too.
Hit me with the juice, Chase.
A little birdie told me Red Bull never communicated that he needed to get that position back. Now, he should know, because he is a racer.
He should absolutely know that.
But also, if your race control doesn't say, hey, FIA said give the position back or you're getting a smack on the hand, I don't know. As the racer, I'm taking everything I can. It's just, yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where are you getting this information? Because I don't know if I believe that.
I read an article. I mean, unless the article's false, but I doubt there's that many people lying in F1 articles.
No, I understand. Okay. All right. I don't know. That seems iffy to me. Because these guys...
He should know. Yeah, I'm not excusing it. Know. I'm just saying there is some juice. There is some juice with it.
But also, like, only bad things can come out of your team not communicating that information with you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I believe that. I believe you, Chase. I believe that you read it. I don't know if I believe it.
Well, let me see if I can find it.
All right, fine. While you look for that, I'll talk about the power rankings because this is my new favorite thing. I really like talking about these power rankings that the Formula One website comes out with, mostly because they're like kind of crap, but they're kind of fun to talk about because they literally only talk about the people from the last, like, they're not overall power rankings. They're literally just like who did the best in Monza. It's like we know who did the best in Monza. Number 1, Danny Ricciardo scored a 9.8. Number 2, Lando Norris scored a 9.3. And number 3, Valtteri Bottas scored a 9.2. Fourth place, Charles Leclerc. Fifth place, this was their fun inclusion, was George Russell. 6th, Fernando Alonso. 7th, Max Verstappen. 8, Nicholas Latifi. We should talk about Nicholas Latifi. He's had a couple pretty good races. He's out-qualified Russell a couple times, which is always impressive because George Russell is very, very good in that Williams.
Yeah.
Man,
they re-signed him. That's a good thing.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah. Nicholas Latifi. Making his place. Keeping his spot.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this was another great race from George Russell, though. We can talk about him a little bit more if we want. I mean, 9th place, scoring points in the Williams. Going to be in the Mercedes next year. Swapping with Valtteri. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Power rankings, I don't know. They're wild. They're literally just wild.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great race from Danny Ricciardo. I don't know if he deserves to be at the top. Maybe in the top 10. I still feel like sans, this Hamilton and Verstappen, Lewis and Max crash. The Lewis and Max crash. The great Lewis and Max crash of 2021.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of them.
Yeah.
My favorite fact to come out of this race, though, is the fact that Ricciardo's bet with Zach Brown this year was if he wins a race, he gets to drive a NASCAR. And
really?
And so he actually is getting to do that. Like it's linked here. Read more. Ricciardo set for driving in Earnhardt's NASCAR Chevrolet after winning bet with Zach Brown. I love this. I love Danny Ricciardo for like the little things he does outside of
Yeah, he's a fun
Outside of the
guy.
sport,
He's one of
he's a
the
fun guy.
cool racers, you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a first podium.
Yeah,
1984 NASCAR Chevrolet Monte Carlo, raced by Earnhardt Sr. I guess maybe Zach Brown owns it. Zach Brown has a lot of cars.
yeah.
He's
I
a
mean,
car
he's a team
collector.
principal in the car
Yeah,
industry.
they make a lot of money.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I I love Danny Ricc. Perfect, amazing.
Yeah.
But on the subject of him winning, like, oh man, Verstappen. Hamilton quoted Verstappen and said that pretty much Verstappen would let him win if he got there. He'd defend his position. And I gotta say, if that's true, it's great for both of them. I mean, I've been a Danny Rick fan ever since Red Bull, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And to see him say, "Yeah, no, I'm not one of the old geezers who's just gonna place 12th every race for the next 2 years."
Shout out Sebastian Vettel.
Shout out Kimi Räikkönen. Sometimes
Hey, that's
Alonso.
messed up.
I'm just
I love Kimi Räikkönen.
I love both of them. I love all of them. I don't have no problem with that. I'm just saying, Danny doesn't want to be one of those guys. He wants to fight for it, and he's showing McLaren, I guess, that he's got the juice still left in him.
Yeah, McLaren, they're killing it this year. They really are.
Yeah,
They're doing really well.
They really couldn't have a better year. Looking at the two teams they're competing with for the championship.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the two teams literally couldn't have a better year.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Well, Mercedes could obviously have a better year, but Red Bull is doing very, very well.
Red Bull's doing phenomenal, and then just occasional crashes is what's stopping them from dominating. I mean, Verstappen's got 6 out of the last 7 poles. I mean, that's in a year that they're not supposed to dominate, and it's not 2014. Oh my goodness!
It's not 2014. Nuts. All right. Well, I think we can end it there.
Yeah,
there's really not too much else to talk about, which is good.
Oh yeah.
Nothing too crazy. Next,
I mean, besides, I guess I never mentioned one of the things I wanted to mention. Man, there was a lot of bumping in this race. Just if you watch the highlights,
elbows were out.
Bump there, bump here, bump there, into the wall, on a car. Crazy.
Yeah. Elbows were out this race.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Next race, the 26th. Yes, the 26th in Russia. You know, people aren't big on the Russian track. It's tough to overtake there.
Yep.
But we'll see. We'll see. Give me your 1, 2, 3, Chase. Who you got?
All right. I'm hopping on the Bottas hype train. Not a big fan of him, but he did phenomenally this race.
Yeah.
I think he wants to give a giant middle finger to Mercedes. I think he brings this home. He brought it home last year. I think he brings it home this year. I think, honestly, I think Max and Hamilton crash out again this race. I think it's gonna actually start getting to a point where it's concerning, right? Both for the safety and for the money and for the penalties. But I think they crash each other out again this year, or this race. And I say Perez doesn't do something dumb, and gets second. And then I think Danny. I'm staying on that Danny hype train. I think he gets.
Okay.
Daniel Ricciardo gets third.
All right. All right. I tend to disagree with you. I think Max is going to dominate. I think Max is going to dominate this one. He's sick and tired of Lewis always getting in his way. Oh, wait, never mind. No, I take that back because he's going to have a 5-place grid penalty. No, I take it back. Max isn't winning this one. Lewis wins this one, and I think following him is Sergio, and following him in third is Lando Norris. McLaren. I think this will be a good race, though.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good one.
I think all of these are really set to be pretty good races.
I think the dynamic, even though the track may be boring, the dynamic of the racers and the teams and the cars this year makes a lot interesting. I mean, I've really only been disappointed by like 3 races.
Yeah, which is that's pretty good.
I mean, out of how many we've watched in the teens, like 14 something already this year. That's good. That's a good ratio. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, round 14. Yeah, we've got Russia on the 26th. Then we've
Yep.
got Turkey. We've got U.S., Mexico, Brazil. To be determined, which I don't know where that will be. We
Hopefully
might
it'll
go
be
back
a
to like
cool place.
Bahrain or something like that. Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi. Got those are some good tracks coming up.
Yeah.
Turkey is a great track. U.S. in my opinion is a great track. I love the Mexico track. The
Yep.
Brazil track's great.
Of the Brazil track.
The Saudi Arabia track will be the first time I've seen them race on the Saudi Arabia track.
Yep.
And
Same.
we know the Abu Dhabi track, and it's what it's going to come with.
Well, it's changing. Don't forget.
I
So
know they changed, so but
I
it's still the bare, it's still the bones of a track that's not amazing.
I'm calling it now, dude. I'm calling it now. It's gonna be a great race.
In Abu Dhabi this year.
Oh yeah, I think the
All right.
changes that were made make it so that you can pass better now, and I think that makes it more interesting because this
Yeah.
race showed us that everyone just wants to pass, even if it's in tight corners. So
Yeah, and sometimes the corners are too tight.
yep.
All right. Well, don't get your corners too tight, and we will see you next week.